I know normally I do my stuff on Monday, but I thought, what the heck, I had a little extra time today, so thought I'd go live and we would chat a little bit. So if you could let me know if you're watching either on YouTube or Facebook or something like that, and if you are on Facebook and you do want to comment, jump over to either the Steve Stine page or the Steve Stine guitar page, and you can actually comment from there. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to try and help you out. Again, I don't want to take a bunch of your time, but I'm going to help you out a little bit with trying to develop your down picking a little bit. Again, I had that question on Monday, and I talk about these things quite often. Hey, Got, so hopefully I can help you a little bit with this. So the first thing is understanding that the gear that you're using, hey, Jack, hey, Shivam, hey, Michael, make sure that you have the right tools for the job. And what I mean by that is make sure that your guitar is set up properly and make sure you've got the appropriate guitar pick. Now, I can't tell you what's perfect to use. Hey, Michael. Hey, Serge. Hey, Tanjid. Hey, Robert. Jake. Hey, Lance. Thank you so much for joining me. So what I use, I can tell you what I use, but it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that you figure out what works best for you. Hey, Michael. Hey, Ajay. Hey, Brandon. I usually use somewhere around 9 gauge strings. Sometimes it's 8.5, sometimes it's 9.5. I use GHS because they have custom half sizes, which I really like depending on, what time of the year it is and that sort of thing. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Norman. Hey, Archie. So, but the most important thing is I've got a wonderful local guitar store here that's able to set up my guitars so the strings are really close to the neck, which is how I like to play. Doesn't mean it's the same for everybody. But it feels good to me. And then the second thing is making sure that the pick that you're using is appropriate. Hey, Bruno. Hey, Cyrus. Hey, Awad. Hey, Seasons. Because I use a 2.0 pick. I use Hawk guitar picks. Ironically, I have the shirt on right now, which wasn't planned. But I use a thicker pick is what I like to use with a sharper point because it makes it easier for me. And again, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's different for everybody. Hey, John. Hey, Leisha. So what we do is once we get ourselves set up with a decent setup, right? I've got my strings set up, my neck, it feels good, and I'm ready to play. Hey, Bruce. Hey, Tony. Okay, cool. Looks like we have quite a few people here. This is great. So what I try and do then is dial in a tone that feels good. Again, you don't have to go out and buy new gear or anything like that. Just finding a sound that... Hey, Lisa. Now, I just decided to go live on a Thursday and just talk about this down picking thing to get it out of my brain. So here's what I want you to do. I've got an exercise that you've probably seen on YouTube before, and I refer to it as the 3-minute exercise. And I think it's a really great place to start. Once you've, dialed in your guitar, you've got a tone set up, you're ready to go. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Jack. What we do is we start thinking about how we're going to play downpicking to develop speed, stamina, and dexterity, right? That's what we're looking for. And really strength as well. Speed, strength, and stamina are the 3 S's. And part of it is once you've got your gear set up, you want to make sure that you start learning how to relax from really the neck down when you pick. You watch people pick, and sometimes they pick, they're just gripping like this. And the key is really try and relax all your muscles, especially when you play a lot of metal and things like that. It's really important, metal, I should say. It's really important to relax a little bit. This is an Ibanez Gem, Bradley. You got to relax a little bit so you can last longer when you're picking. So what I like to do is what's called a 3-minute exercise. And what you do is you take a metronome, and I'm literally going over to Google and just typing in the word metronome, and it gives me a metronome. So what I'm going to do here is dial that up for you. Okay? And I've got this set at 150 right now. That's where I've got this set. I'm going to move that metronome to this desktop over here, this monitor. And here we go. Okay, so that's set at 150. And what I'm going to do, and 150 is just a place to begin. You could be at 90, you could be at 80. It doesn't matter. The point is you get on the board. Okay, drop the ego, drop the I've been playing for 20 years, so I should be able to do whatever. Yes, exactly. So the most important thing is that you find a tempo that works for you, and you're going to try and play this down picking exercise for 3 minutes. Okay. Now, what should happen if you're at the right tempo is, a good 60 seconds into it, 90 seconds into it, you're going to start feeling tension. But you're able to actually play this for 3 straight minutes without stopping. Now, the second thing is once we've dialed in the appropriate tempo, the most important thing is you be honest with yourself. Like I said, drop the ego on how fast you think you're supposed to be and really start figuring out how fast you are, and that way you can start building from there. So honesty is the next most important thing. You got to make sure that you're playing at a speed that works. Laisha says Johnny Ramone was supernatural, and he really was. You'd see him live, and he would take those songs and play them 20, 30 beats faster, which was amazing. So what you do is you dial in and you start reminding yourself to relax all your muscles. So let me just show you. I'm going to start at 150 here, and I start doing this. And notice how I'm doing 2 per click. And as I do this, I'm just trying to train myself to relax. I don't need to make too many large movements with the guitar pick. The goal is just to stay really small. And always understand that your picking action is either going to come from your bicep, right, and your elbow. It's going to come from your wrist, or it's going to come from your fingers. And everybody's different that way, and it depends on the speed that you're going. That makes a difference as well, okay? So let me come back over here just for a second here. I just want to say a quick hi. Jeff, Troy, Kyle, Cezanne, thank you so much. Let's hear some Metallica. See, we're going to get to that in just a second. So we're using this 3-minute exercise to dial this in, and as we start playing it, if we are incapable of doing it for 3 minutes, right, we get too tense, or it's just telling us, hey, we're not ready for this. We got to slow down a little bit, or we have to relax a little bit, or whatever it might be, okay? So we start doing this again. I'm going to try this again. 2 per click. And when I start playing, all I want to focus on is lining up to that metronome and relaxing. Hey, Jim. Hey, Brandon. And as I'm doing this, as I get more comfortable, then I start thinking about my attack, right? The amount of pick that I'm using, the aggression that I'm using on that string as I hit that string, right? And then trying to maintain that volume each time I pick, trying to have a very similar attack each time. Hey, JJ. So as I play, Jason from Newcastle, Australia, it's nice. Thank you so much for being here. So as we dial that in, what happens is, again, around minute and a half, somewhere around there, you're really going to start feeling it. And as you start feeling it, you've got to remind yourself to just relax. Relax your muscles, relax your tendons, relax your pick grip, right? All these things you need to keep trying to relax. And that's how you start developing this strength and stamina, which develops ultimately into your speed, right? You want to keep trying to develop that. So, but again, the most important thing is when you're doing this, and I know I sound like a broken record, but don't try and do a speed that's incapable, or you have to fake your way when you do it, because it's just not going to benefit you. Find a speed that works. You know, I was a Montessori instructor for many years, if you know what Montessori education is. And our philosophy with the kids would always be, you need to find a way that works, right? If what you're doing isn't working, you need to find something else. But in order to do that, we have to focus. We have to think about it. So that's what I want you to do. Now, the second thing, in addition to this, because again, I'm not going to take all of your time here, but the next thing is trying to dial in using some songs that you like. Now, I've got a couple of playlists on Spotify. If you are on Spotify at all, if you type in Steve Stine downpicking or Steve Stine alternate picking, you're going to find the playlists. And the one we're talking about is the downpicking. And what I like to do is I like to use songs from my downpicking. Now, I can't use the songs right now because with YouTube and everything going on, who knows what's going to happen. But basically what I try and do is find songs. Now, you might just pick a song. Let's say I was doing a little bit of Painkiller by Judas Priest, right? So it's going... Maybe you don't want to learn the whole song, but you're going to use just the intro to that. Or maybe you're using Creeping Death by Metallica. or whatever part of the song it might be. Let me see what else I've got in there for down picking. It could be Number of the Beast, right? Something like, yeah, you're right. My wife went out to get the the mail. So, right, or Master of Puppets. I mean, it could be any of those kind of things. I remember sitting practicing when I used to play that section of Master of Puppets. I used to alternate pick when I was a kid because I couldn't do it fast enough. And then you keep developing it, and you keep working on that. Now, here's something I want to remind you real quick before I end this, is that the difference between like the 3-minute picking and using songs is that when you're doing the 3-minute picking, you're not giving yourself a rest, okay? You're literally going for 3 minutes, whatever speed you're choosing. If you think about it, when you play songs, the beauty of most song construction, and again, there are a million songs out there that do different things, but you get a rest. So if I go, if I'm playing, even if it was faster, if I was playing Creeping Death, when I pause, I get those small, brief moments of pause. It actually helps my wrist because it can reinvigorate my energy, and it gives me a break on that repetitive stress that can happen by doing these sorts of things. So you want to know that when you're playing songs, whatever song you might be practicing, I'm just looking over here to see. Like one I used to use all the time was Antisocial by Anthrax, which, you'll notice when I get to the, I do an alternate pick, and again, it just feels more natural to me, but in my doing that, it actually relieves my wrist a little bit so I can re-energize a little bit and kick it back in. You see what I mean? So there's always some things like that within the context of songs that you can use when you're playing. So these are just a few ideas that you can use to try and develop your down picking a little bit. And please remember, somewhere around, I'm in Central Time, so somewhere around 9 is usually when I go live. On Monday, I'll be going live again, and we'll talk a little bit more about some various techniques and things like that too. So thank you so much. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Spark, Josh, Chris. Thank you, everybody. And join me on Monday. And again, remember, if you're looking for any kind of materials and things like that for learning, you can always head over to guitarzoom.com and see my guitar courses, and we have subscription sites and all kinds of different stuff like that. Carl says Fight Fire with Fire, which is a perfect one. Now, that gets more into alternate picking, right? When we start getting into, and I don't remember, I haven't played that in a long time, but there we go. That's an alternate picking one, and I have a playlist of alternate picking that works for that as well, so that's some good stuff. So thank you, Cole. Thank you, King40, Chris, everybody. Stay positive, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all live on Monday, okay? Take care.